Okay, for every real estate investor out there looking to scale up, we're about to break down a really powerful, and let's be honest, pretty unconventional strategy. This isn't just about saving a few bucks here and there. This is about fundamentally hitting the accelerator on how fast you can build your real estate empire.
So let's just start with the big question, right? As an investor, what's the one thing that's really slowing you down? What's stopping you from buying that next property and then the one after that? For most of us, it isn't a lack of good deals out there. It's the waiting, that slow, painful wait to build up enough capital for the next down payment.
And that really gets us to the heart of the problem for investors. It's all about trapped equity. I mean, the money is right there. It's locked up inside the properties you already own. But getting to it so you can buy the next property, it just moves at a snail's pace. Your assets are working for you, sure, but they're not working nearly fast enough to really fuel serious growth.
Let's just look at the hard numbers for a second, because this really shows you how a traditional mortgage is built. On a pretty typical $775,000 loan, in just the first 4 years, you've paid a staggering $150,000 in interest. Meanwhile, only about $49,000 of that has actually gone to paying down your loan. The whole system is completely front-loaded against you.
So think about that. You have poured almost $200,000 in payments into this property, but your actual ownership, your equity from paying down the loan, has barely even moved. You've only knocked out about 6% of the loan. For an investor, that's 4 years where your capital has been almost completely unproductive. It's just sitting there.
So you have to ask, why is the system set up this way? Well, it's pretty simple. It's for the bank's advantage. So let's pull back the curtain a little bit, because understanding how they win is the very first step to using their own tools against them. And the key word here is amortization. It's funny, it literally means to kill it off. But as we just saw, in the early years of that mortgage, you're mostly just paying the interest. You're not killing the loan at all. The structure itself is what guarantees the lender their long-term profit and keeps your equity locked away nice and tight.
And this right here, this illustrates the huge strategic choice that every single investor has. On the left, you've got the traditional mortgage. It's slow, your money is illiquid, and it totally favors the lender. But on the right, you have a simple interest loan like a HELOC. It's fast, it's liquid, and it puts you in control. The entire strategy we're about to unpack hinges on one big move, shifting your debt from their game over to yours.
So how do we actually make that shift? Well, we are going to take a very common financial tool and we're going to turn it into a weapon. Seriously, forget everything you've heard about a HELOC being for a kitchen remodel or a vacation. For an investor, a HELOC is the key to attacking your mortgage principal and finally unlocking all that trapped equity. And here's the 4-step playbook. Step 1, pretty straightforward, get the HELOC. But step 2, that's the game changer. You use that HELOC to make a massive, one-time payment directly to your mortgage principal. That is the knockout punch to the bank's front-loaded interest. Then, steps 3 and 4 are all about making this system work long-term. You run your entire financial life through the HELOC. All your income goes in and all your expenses go out, and you're about to see why that's so incredibly important.
Now here's the magic of managing your cash flow this way. Because a HELOC calculates interest daily, every single dollar you deposit, your salary, your rent checks, it immediately lowers the balance that you owe interest on, even if that money is only sitting there for a few days before you pay your bills. So you're minimizing the interest you owe on the HELOC, while that huge chunk of principal you already paid down on your main mortgage, that's gone for good.
Okay, so you're managing your money like a pro, but how does this actually translate into building that real estate empire we talked about? This is where the strategy really pays off for investors who are serious about scaling.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This isn't just some theory. The source material is very clear that this system is designed so that investors can, and I'm quoting here, acquire more properties using the bank's money for leverage. It is a tool that is built specifically for rapid growth.
So what's the bottom line here? It means you are building usable liquid equity much faster than you would otherwise. That means the capital for your next down payment is suddenly available years ahead of schedule. All of a sudden, your tenants aren't just covering a mortgage payment, they are actively funding the rapid expansion of your entire portfolio and accelerating your net worth.
And for investors who have multiple properties, this strategy gets even more powerful. You can use this system to find what I call the leakiest bucket in your portfolio, the loan that's costing you the most in interest. And then you super fund it. You channel your capital exactly where it's going to have the biggest impact. This is about optimizing your entire portfolio, not just one loan.
Now look, this strategy is incredibly powerful, but it is not without risk.
It's aggressive, and it absolutely demands a high level of financial control. So let's be crystal clear about the potential downsides here. We need a reality check.
First off, HELOCs have variable interest rates. They can go up. A lender could also freeze or just reduce your line of credit, which is a huge risk if your entire financial life is running through it. And I can't stress this enough. This system requires extreme financial discipline. This is not for everybody. One mistake, one bout of sporadic spending, and you could end up in a much worse debt situation. And to be fair, critics will argue that a lot of the benefit here just comes from making those big extra payments, not necessarily the fancy cash flow method.
You know, this map really sums up the trade-off perfectly. Traditional banks, they put you in a place of low clarity and low control. This strategy, on the other hand, puts you firmly in that top right corner. High potential savings, yes, but it absolutely demands high clarity and high control from you, the investor. You are taking the wheel completely.
So I want to leave you with this one thought. We are all taught that the 30-year fixed mortgage is the safe option. It's the responsible choice. But if your real ambition is to build a real estate empire, could the slow, inefficient, capital-trapping nature of that quote-unquote safe loan, could that actually be the single biggest risk to you ever achieving your goals? That's a question every serious investor really needs to ask themselves.